Hey everyone, and welcome. You've heard the term artificial intelligence a million times, right? It's everywhere, in our phones, in the news. It's this huge, kind of intimidating topic. So today, we're going to skip all the hype and take a tour of the actual tools that data scientists use to build this stuff. With all that buzz, you also get a ton of hype. The source material for this explainer says it perfectly, warning about predictions that are fueled by fear and fantasy rather than fact. So let's just cut right through that noise. We're not talking about sci-fi today. We're talking about the real-world code that actually makes AI work. Which, of course, leads us to the big question. What are the real tools that power AI? If you could peek behind the curtain, what's actually inside a developer's toolbox? Well, that's exactly what we're here to find out. All right, first up, the AI Developer's Toolbox. We're going to see how AI gets built, not from scratch, but by using these incredibly powerful pre-built kits. So seriously, how do developers build an AI system? I mean, think about it. These things can recognize your face, translate languages on the fly. It sounds impossibly complicated, doesn't it? Well, the truth is, they get a massive head start by using something called a framework. So what on earth is an AI framework? Well, you can think of it as a pre-packed toolbox. It's just a collection of powerful tools and pre-written code that makes building AI way, way more accessible. They do all the heavy lifting so developers can focus on the fun part, solving the actual problem, instead of, reinventing the wheel every single time. And here's why they're such a game changer. First, they give you building blocks, all this code that's already written, so you're not starting from absolute zero. Second, they handle all the complex math. All that gnarly calculus and algebra, it's all managed for you, behind the scenes. And third, what does this all lead to? It accelerates development. You can build things and try out new ideas so much faster. It's a massive, massive shortcut. Okay, now let's meet the big players. We're diving into the giants of deep learning. These are some of the most popular and powerful toolkits in the entire AI world. First up, we've got the heavyweight champion, TensorFlow. This was developed by Google, and yeah, it's pretty much the undisputed king when it comes to power and popularity. If you're talking about a massive industrial-scale project or some cutting-edge custom model, chances are you're going to be using TensorFlow. It is an absolute powerhouse. But hey, not every job needs a sledgehammer, right? And that's where Keras comes in. Think of Keras as the super user-friendly layer that sits right on top of TensorFlow. It gives you a simple, clean way to build models incredibly fast. So if you want to test out an idea quickly, or if you're just getting your feet wet, Keras is fantastic. It's all about simplicity and speed. And rounding out our top three is MXNet. This one is the versatile workhorse. Its whole claim to fame is scalability and portability. It's built for amazing speed and efficiency, and get this, it can run on pretty much anything, from a huge bank of cloud servers all the way down to the smartphone in your pocket. So here's the crucial point. You've got to choose the right tool for the job. This table just lays it out perfectly. Need raw power and total flexibility for a giant custom project? You grab TensorFlow. Need to whip up a prototype really fast, or maybe you're just starting out? Keras is your friend. Need to deploy your model across a whole bunch of different devices efficiently? That's a job for MXNet. See? It's all about picking the right tool from the toolbox. Okay, so we've seen the deep learning giants, but that is not the only way to build AI. We're about to pivot to a totally different and honestly a really fascinating approach, AI that's inspired by nature itself. And this slide really gets to the heart of the difference. Deep learning, the stuff we saw with TensorFlow, is all about learning patterns from massive amounts of data. You show a computer a million cat photos, and eventually it learns what a cat looks like. Optimization, though, that's different. It's all about searching for the best possible answer to a really complex problem. It's less about learning from the past and more about exploring all the possibilities. And one of the absolute coolest examples of this is an algorithm called particle swarm optimization. We'll just call it PSO. And that name, swarm, well, that should give you a pretty big clue where the inspiration came from. And here you have it, straight from our source. The optimizer mimics the swarm movement in an attempt to solve complex optimization problems. It's not just a clever name. The algorithm literally models how a swarm of bees or a flock of birds behaves to find the best answers. This is such a great way to understand it. Imagine your problem is a huge field of flowers, and your goal is to find the one single flower with the most nectar. The particles in our algorithm? They're a swarm of bees. So how do they find it? Well, they don't just fly around randomly.
Here's the magic. The bees communicate. They share information about the good spots they found. So when one bee finds a pretty good flower, it kind of tells the others. And that collective knowledge guides the entire swarm toward the most nectar-rich flower in the whole field. That's PSO. It's like a computer program that thinks like a swarm of bees.
So we've got deep learning over here, and we've got this nature-inspired AI over there. This brings us to our final and maybe most important section, choosing the right tool, because one size absolutely does not fit all. And really, this is the single most important thing to take away from our whole tour today. A good data scientist knows which tool is right for the job. There's no single best AI tool out there. There's only the best tool for the specific problem you're trying to solve. So, let's do a super quick recap. First, remember the toolbox. AI isn't magic. It's built with these powerful kits called frameworks. Second, there are different families of tools, from the data-hungry deep learning to the clever searching of a swarm. Third, there's always a choice to be made between things like power and simplicity, think TensorFlow versus Keras. And finally, never forget that sometimes the best inspiration for solving a problem comes from the natural world all around us. And that leaves us with one final, pretty exciting thought. We've just peeked at a few tools in this giant, growing AI toolbox. So the real question is, as these toolkits get bigger, more powerful, and even easier to use, what are the incredible problems we're going to solve next? Thanks for watching.